Oh, what's up, guys? Just got back from the gym, took a shower, did legs today. This episode is about pacing and energy management. I'll make a shorter video today. What the universe has really been teaching me, when you start coaching people, you're also like coaching yourself, in a way, versions of yourself. And I've been prone to just overdo it. 300 outbound a day, I think, is just unsustainable. I think you can, it's like a sprint, right? Like you can do that to blitz and launch. And maybe that wasn't such a bad strategy for my first, month or two, because it's like you're starting from nothing and it seems like so tiny. Okay. I want to hurry up and get to 100 members. And then honestly, it's just going to be a slow grind till you get to 1,000. But I think 1,000 feels better, but don't let the number deceive you either. I'm in a few groups where they have like 800 to 1,000 members, and I'm getting almost as many engagements as they are with 70 people. So the number is not necessarily like, and people buy followers on Instagram and they buy subs, and you can tell like they're not even getting like 10 comments a post. So it's not just the number, it's the living number. It's it's not just the masculine number of like, look how big it is, but it's like, okay, but like, do the people really care about you? Why are they following you? Okay. So I've been talking a lot about this masculine feminine conversation, probably a little bit too much, like Jesus Christ, man. But my midheaven is in Libra, and in astrology, the midheaven, I think, is kind of like your job, like your spiritual job in this lifetime. And my job is to balance things out and connect people, But the opposite of that, I have a lot of Aries. So I really have a strong, they're polar opposite signs. So I'm going back and forth. In my Aries, I'm leading, I'm coaching, I'm cleaving, I'm leading in the front, and I'm cutting down the fucking vines in the jungle, and we're gonna get to the promised land, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm showing you how I'm doing it, and I'm teaching you how to do the exact same thing. And I've had a lot more business success than most of you guys. It just depends on your output, man. Like, pacing is everything. When we hear backwards advice because it's often from a place of lack. And the advice, like when you watch a motivational video, I'm going to give 100, I'm going to give 110%, like Eric Thomas. I'm going to give it, 120. Okay. But if you're running a race, if you're running a marathon or any kind of like fitness event, like you're not going to go 100, you're going to gas out and you're going to bonk and you're going to disqualify. In a race, you're going like 85% most of the time of your max. And then as you're finishing, if you've got anything left, you could try to push it to 90, 95. It just depends on how you're feeling. I mean, I'm not a pro athlete, but any kind of like sport or endurance kind of thing, you may gas it if it is a sprint finish at the very end. You may go 100%, and that may only be like 1% of the time. So that's like doing a VO2 max workout. Like, it's helpful to go VO2. VO2 max is basically sprinting for like 30 seconds to a minute. Your body cannot actually handle going 100% for much longer than a minute or two, because you actually run out of oxygen. You go into an anaerobic, lactic acid threshold, and you're going to start you get that metal taste in your mouth. What does that mean? It means your cells are going so hard that they can't buffer the acid from the effort, because there's like an acid from releasing that much energy. So, you know what I mean? So I've been looking at it like, because I think I have an Aries moon and like Aries energy, it's like, I think Aries does like to just sprint and go in like bursts. Okay. But I'm also like a Taurus. I'm a fixed sign. And so it frustrates me when I am inconsistent, basically. And like, I have to slow myself down when I'm wanting to redline it. I like to redline it. I like to go hard, but I get this. I'm getting this intuitive awareness of like, bro, if you keep going at this pace, you are going to burn out. Like, there's always going to be a balance until you get balanced again. So it's like my Libra is balancing out my own Aries. It's very hard to balance an Aries out. They are they like to be imbalanced. They like to troll and act crazy and, tip the scales. So balancing out a cardinal energy can be difficult because they always want to keep moving forward. Okay, so like I did squats today. A part of me wanted to do an extra 25 pounds on each side and really, fucking go all out. But in my intuition, like I'm trying to program 4 workouts a week. I just haven't been that consistent. I'm tracking it now. I'm circling the days I work out. So it's like, I recommend, dude, I'm looking at my calendar like all the fucking time. I used to hate calendars and agendas. I never used them, but it's about loving your time and it's about respecting yourself. I'm constantly fucking looking at that thing, you know. Um Anyways, like you have to give yourself enough time to recover, even in a coaching business. So what I've realized is these false kind of narratives of like hours per day, hours per week. Like that's not a realistic thing if you're like an empathic person or a more like psychic person. Like, can you push maximum energy in an hour that if you were just going at a medium pace, that may be like 3 or 4 hours? Like 3 or 4 hours at a gentle pace could be like 1 hour going ham. I like to go ham, and I've been trying to go ham and sustain that for like 12, 14 hours a day. And people are like, you are crazy. So, I had this intuitive message in my mind as I'm finishing my, my 4th round of squats. And the message was, if you really want to be able to do 4 workouts, in 7 days, you should stop right now. You should not do that extra set. I wanted to do the extra set, but I also know I have a tendency to keep doing this, right? So I'm aware of my patterns. Coaching is a lot about pacing, guys. Like no matter what kind of coach you're in, I'm building an agency, which is, a hub of all coaches. No matter what kind of coaching you're doing, business is universal, and so is pacing and recovery and, and energy. So, pacing is everything. Instead of doing 300 outbound and then burning out and then just feeling kind of miserable about it, like I wasn't giving my heart or my feminine or basically like my inner child, like I was not having any fun. And I've pushed myself to like 80, 90, 100-hour weeks where like there is no fun. You're just a machine. Some part of me likes to operate at that crazy mode, but there are consequences. You get lonely. Like your soul and your heart like needs to have some expression. I used to push myself to like not even have an hour or two of free time a day. Like literally, I would go 12. You saw how hard I was going like January, February, like 12 hours, and then you only have like 1 or 2 hours to wind down, and going to the gym. It's like you have no time. I think that just after that compounds for like a few months, like you're either just going to be catatonically suffering, like Alex Hormozy's interview with Tony Robbins, like because he's pushing himself to that pace. We think that we need to hit this goal. It's kind of like playing this video game, like where you're getting gear, like you're trying so hard to get this gear. And then the moment that you get the drop or that you win the roll, it's like, am I even happy that I finally got it out? Or, it's just like on to the next, right? I'm not even as happy as I am like to get the reward as how frustrated I am in pursuit of the reward. Even when I was, in my other businesses, even making 1,000 a day, $100 or $200 an hour, a few hours of that. I mean, it feels pretty great, but like, I'm still not even that, I push myself to such false standards that I'm not even enjoying life. I'm not even enjoying the goal once I hit the goal, So I've had to slow down and reduce. And so that's why I'm only charging 1,000 now. Because I think the first few clients should be at a more sustainable pace. That's my offer, 1,000 for 60 days. I have consistently made more than $100 an hour. I will give you more than 10 hours of my time. I will make sure that I give you $1,500 worth of my energy. Oftentimes you're buying motivation, man. You're buying motivation and energy and focus and then skills to direct that to the target. So, it's not that complicated, man, to sell. It's like when people are in the market and they want some extra help and extra energy and focus, then they may be in the market. You pick the one that resonates the most with you. One of the ladies in my group seems like she's shopping around for some kind of coach. In the synthesizer group, I think they're offering a $6,000 package. Like, look, I think a lot of times coaches that have big followings, there is kind of a hype tax. Like Goose kind of has a hype tax. Was I that satisfied with the purchase? I give it about a 3 stars. Just the communication just wasn't there and the energy was kind of low. But he did help me set up the group, and he is kind of a more hype kind of guy on school. So there is a hype tax, okay? There is a social tax. You can start charging that social tax once you've got at least 1,000 active members. 10,000 is honestly a pretty big deal. Okay, so there's a little bit of a hype tax. I'm not charging a hype tax. I'm giving you a wholesale discount, okay? So 1,000, a lot. 1,000 makes me accessible to a lot more people. That does not mean I'm lacking confidence, nor am I desperate for money. I have 10K. I could easily pull on $100,000 if I needed to. Okay, so it's not hard for me to pull on funds. What's been the challenge is, and that does not mean make a money grab for me. Okay. The only coaches I would be in the market for right now are personal trainers and social media coaches. Okay. If you got a strong social media presence or you're a fitness trainer, I am like 5 out of 10 in the market. I could, but I don't know. You'd have to convince me. But business, like, dude, I'm supreme at business. Okay. I'm better at business than most people. I would have scaled my last business to 50K a month. I would have. I was going to build apps, Yeah, okay, maybe not. Do I even believe him? I don't want you to believe my words. I want you to believe my momentum and my frequency. So that's why when coaches tell me things, I'm not sure I really believe them. And even if they are telling the truth, I'm looking at your momentum, man. Like, what's your momentum at? Like, how hard are you going? If you're not going hard, I don't want to run with you, man. Like, you're really like walking right now, bro. Like, people try to sell this lifestyle of like easy money, and I'm like, I don't want easy money, bro. I want to be a billionaire. I want to fucking slay, and I want to have a dream life. Like, I want to make all my dreams come true. I don't want to fucking easy minimalistic life. That's not a criticism, but that's just honestly, that's where I'm at, bro. Are we walking? I want to run, dude. I don't want to walk. You've been walking your whole life, man. That's why I'm able to achieve fast results. Okay. Not that many people can take 2 businesses to pass 1,000 a day in less than a year each. Okay. That is a flex, and I don't have to flex that too much. It's your active momentum, bro. People respond to your active energy. When I stopped posting like a ton, my engagement dropped. Like, I started posting spiritual content. They don't want the spiritual content, They only want that kind of a vibe as the first impression, as the introduction. That's something that I really realized. That's been a prevalent download. I think that's helpful for me to tell you guys. Your first impression should be more like a pop star, like a Justin Bieber. Like, he's a cute, sweet guy, right? When you think Justin Bieber, you think popular, famous, but like cute guy. You kind of want to be more pop, as your first impression. As they get to know you, that's when, they see who you really are. And then you should be authentic, don't be fake. But, my authentic self, I'm much more masculine and dominant than I am presenting myself now. I think it's actually a bad strategy or a limited strategy to come into a group with a lot of masculine energy. I have done that in a few groups. Some of them, they're okay with it, but they're, it just makes people a little bit sus coming in with so much masculine energy. But that's because I was just in this frustrated kind of sales grind mode. But that's just not how you do it on social media. The first impression you got to pass the test. The first evaluation is their first impression. When you go on a date, if you're really like intense, like man or woman, this is gonna be like, you're a little bit weird, man. Why are you so intense right now? Like, you're frustrated, you're stressed out. Like, I was just a little bit amped up, I've been pushing myself too hard, and there is a consequence. And your social side suffers, your feminine suffers, man. I'm talking to myself. So, just like you want to pump that last, like, I want to go 100%, but you need to go 80%, 85%, bro. That's not a B grade. That's actually a 100% grade. That's an A+ grade. Going a sustainable 80-85% is actually an A+. That's the weird thing. We think human beings think, bro, you're not going to run a race and go 100% the whole time. You're going to fucking crash and fail and injure yourself. You don't do that. You go 80, maybe up to 95% at the very end if you really got a deadline, all right? You really want to like manifest this result, then yeah, you can increase that, more towards the deadline of the goal because you're trying to manifest that win, right? But that's not sustainable long term. That's why I crashed hard. Everybody was telling me like, dude, you're gonna burn. They were seeing me burning out and like miserable, like, but so I have like gassed myself and made a lot of money, but I was suffering. I was not happy. Okay, so I don't think that's the correct long-term strategy. If all you want is to make a lot of money very quickly and you're like desperate in life and you're young, then yeah, go for it, fucking burn it. But I'm just saying, as you get older and more mature, like I want to have a very consistent and manageable. You never want to run out of oil either in your car. I don't ever want to go lower than like 10% in my oil tank. I just don't. Because $20 of oil versus the engine, 5 to 10K to fix an engine or your transmission, like you never want to run out of fluid. So yeah, I always want to keep like 10-20% in the tank. So I've been way more aware of energy management and pacing. So I think a good coach is going to be able to match your vibe, your personality, in your masculine and feminine. Hopefully it's a more balanced person. Like I think by now you've seen like all the sides of me. I've got so many different sides to me, but it's a manageable pace. Anyways, I got my $1,000 offer. I think it will sell because honestly, I can't discount it any more than that. Like, I'm very confident that it has to be at least 1,000. Like, I believe that if what you're giving is worth more, then your demand will increase. And I've done this in my businesses. When I lowered it, I had a psychic awareness of my businesses. One was products and one was a service. Like, if I had a sale, I could feel the demand increase. Like I could feel a lot more people responding to me with the lower price. So I don't know. I do feel like a psychic kind of a supply and demand. Even in my moving business, like in the beginning, I was only charging like $50 to deliver something. Apps were paying 40, but they were charging 70. So I was like, I'll be a little bit more competitive. I filled up my calendar very quickly at 50. Then I raised it to 70. And then I even raised some to 100, 150, and people still paid it, right? So I knew that they would pay it because I was testing the market the entire time. I knew they would pay me 70, so I'd ask for 100. And then sometimes they would give me 100, sometimes they wouldn't. But it's like, it just depended on like how much business I already had. Once I already had like quite a bit of business, then that's when you raise the price, dude, because it's like, I could do it, but I feel like I've been giving you guys a deal. So, if you want me to do it, like you got to pay me the higher price, man. That's how you sell at a more higher price tag. But if your schedule is not consistently booked, then it's not a bad idea to run a sale. Maybe for you that's 500. For me, it's 1,000. It's 1,000 because like, dude, I've built multiple businesses. Like, I honestly think that I could stick with like 3 to even 5K, but I just want some fast wins and I want some more testimonials, and so I'm okay with that. But yeah, that's my intro price. What do you get for 1,000 in 60 days? We're going to match on pacing and energy. If you're curious about the spiritual woo-woo stuff, we may connect on like charts and like energy and stuff like that, balancing out the energy, masculine, feminine energy strategy. Then we're going to talk about your social image, your brand, your profile. It's styling advice. I am a stylish guy, okay, when I'm trying. And then we're going to talk about the sales engines, and you just got to fill up the calendar and the pipeline, man. So I'm going to take you to a comfortable 80, 85. If you're feeling really motivated, maybe 90%, but we got to just pay attention. 60 days. Okay, at the end of the 60 days, I want you to feel like I've given you 150 times % return on your money. And yeah, we should try to help you get at least one or two sales, whether that's 500 or 1,500. It doesn't matter. I'll still only charge you 1,000. That is like, honestly, that's a pretty great deal. I could make that in 5 to 10 hours in my other business, but this is my passion. And this is what I want to do with my life. So I've committed to this. And yeah, anyways, can you get a client or two in 60 days? Yes, you absolutely can. And I'm actually going to help you get the leads and prospect with you. I can't exactly prospect for you on your profile, but I will find the groups and the lists on any app, on any platform. It's a hybrid of coaching and basically a marketing agency. Marketing agency is going to run the ads for you and do the like help you get the leads and like where do you post. They're going to go over like your posting strategy, your communication strategy, your DM and your comment strategy. And then we're just going to review. We can review daily through text. That might be too much, but if you want to, we can chat daily in messaging. And or if you just want calls, it would be like a call a week, you know. Or if you would rather just do all text, then we could just do a lot more texting and not do any calls, you know. So there'll be some kind of balance, but I'll give you your money's worth, man. You got to run the numbers. You got to get better at targeting. And then also, I've really come to understand first impressions and more viral posts. My posts in groups still get 40 plus comments like per post. I'm pretty fucking good at this. You got to ask engaging questions that it's a interrupt. It's very different. In fact, it's honestly probably the other polarity of the energy of the group. You know, I'm changing the polarity. I'm balancing the polarity of that group. I'm psychically thinking like, what does this group need? You know, like Goosify, they always want to talk about like self-care and you know, it's an emotional healing kind of an energy, kind of a tribe, you know. There's a spiritual theme, but there's a popularity theme. So it's got to be relatable, but also like interesting, right? So every group has a flavor. Okay, if you want to balance my group out, and I'm curious, what would you post? What would be the opposite vibration of my energy or my group? You know, try that out, post that in my group. But you know, you're trying to harmonize, but also be relatable. All right, guys. Anyways, that's my video for today. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. Let me know what you're up to. Yeah, I'm offering 1,000 for at least 3 people, and then we're going to try to fill that up ASAP. And then once that's locked in, I don't know, we're just going to have to see how I feel. I think I can manage at least 3 to 6 people at a time, but we're just going to have to see. That'll be kind of like a trial thing for me, but I intuitively feel like I've got all the bases down. I got all the engines running. Okay, now I'm much more consistent. I'm in it to win it. This is a long-term game. I'm willing to devote 10, 15 years to this unless I hit my goals so quickly, then we'll see, but I would like to work with artists and, people in those kinds of industries, and maybe even in music and art, in film, or, things like that, streamers. So I'm really interested in that kind of, like star power. I like to work with stars, and I also like to work with entrepreneurs. And you are a star, okay? So let's develop that star power. All right, guys, much love, and I will see you tomorrow.